Hello everyone, welcome to the Comic Game Movie Show. My name is Deshaun, and today I'm here to give you my top 5. Hold on, I'm trying to see what the hell's up with this thing. Oh, never mind. I thought I was going to con out at 12 seconds because the way it was looking like it was going to go. Like I said, it's a new thing and I can do it on my phone. But anywho, I am here to give you my top 5 comic book movies of the year. I'm holding off on doing the top 5 movies of the year because not every movie has come out yet, so I'm going to wait on that until I've seen Star Wars and a few other movies that have come out, and a few other movies. But all the comic book movies have come out this year. They're all wrapped up. There's been some really good ones. There's been some disappointing ones, and I'm here to give you my top 5 comic book movies of 2017. Number 1 is Logan. Logan, to me, has to be the best crafted of all of the superhero movies. Like, it's kind of like Logan, to me, is in this direction of The Dark Knight because of the tone they were going for. Because it's a movie that's barely even a superhero movie. It's a story about a man who's been through the ringer, who's seen so much pain, and who's lost his way, who's completely lost who he used to be because he's seen everyone he knows and loves die, and through crazy circumstances of meeting this little girl who is his daughter, he remembers who he used to be and he finds it again before he dies. It's about this, and it's just such a beautifully crafted story. It's a movie that, upon first viewing, sitting next to Seth, he kind of dowered me down a little bit on it because I ended up being like, it's an 8. And then when I looked at it again, I thought it was just a fantastic movie. It's well crafted, it's well done. It's not trying to hit you with any twist. And like one of Seth's complaints that kind of got in my mind, in my psyche, and really kind of dowered a little bit was this is predictable, this is predictable. I'm like, it's not trying to trick you. It's not trying to do that. It's just trying to tell this story about this man. And when you bring in all the history that you know, when you bring in all the X-Men movies and that Wolverine, and you know the struggles he's been through, the loss he's had over the decade of Hugh Jackman playing that over the decade of Hugh Jackman playing that character, and you bring it all together, and it just hits you right there. When he died, it hit me right here because first of all, this is the last showing of Hugh Jackman, one of the Wolverine. It's the last time you're going to see this man play that character. And it's the last time you see Patrick Stewart play that character. Patrick Stewart was fantastic in this. This movie, to me, personally, when I think of a movie that might transcend, it transcends being a comic book movie because it's not trying to just be a comic book movie. It's a great movie. It's just great, well-directed, great acted, one of Hugh Jackman's greatest performances, one of Patrick Stewart's greatest performances, and honestly, this movie is the best superhero movie of the year. It cracked my top 10 superhero movies of all time. Now, I don't know if it's in my top 5. I have to sit back and think about it. But in terms of movies that were way better than I thought it was gonna be, and it just hit me hard. The Johnny Cash, and oh man, love Logan. It was a western. It was a modern day western with a X-Men tint. That's what it was. And it was fan-fucking-tastic to me. If I had to go back and give it another grade, I probably would have given it a 9.5. Like I said, at the time I gave it an 8 because fucking Seth was kind of talking in my ear, and I kind of let it come in my head and kind of, I'm like, no, I love this movie. What the fuck am I talking about? Fuck that. Fuck off. Anywho, number 2, to me, number 3 and number 2 are interchangeable. They're completely interchangeable because these are 2 great movies by the same company. But I'm going to put Thor Ragnarok at number 2, and here's why. Because I think Thor Ragnarok, in my personal opinion, had a higher hurdle to leap over. Because Spider-Man is, spoiler alert, Spider-Man Homecoming is the next movie on my list didn't have as big of a hurdle because it was a more popular character. But dude, Thor Ragnarok ended up being nothing I thought it would be. It ended up being, it's the funniest fucking comic book movie I've seen in a long time. It's probably the funniest movie of the year. It's the funniest movie I saw all year. It's got great action. It's got everybody's great. Chris Hemsworth is fantastic with this new it's got this new energy to it, and it's so awesome because Taika Waititi, if you wonder who Taika Waititi is, he did What We Do in the Shadows and Hunt for the Wilder People. Check out What We Do in the Shadows. That's a funny mockumentary. It's just making fun of vampires and whatnot, and it's hilarious. But he directed this, and he did such a great job. He also voiced Korg, the Rock Man, who was hilarious in that. Like, the movie is just so much fun, and it plays with the MCU, and it makes fun of the MCU. You got Loki making fun of it. Like, it is just... I'm not going to get into too details because the movie did just come out maybe 3-4 weeks ago. Like, the movie did just come out this sometime a little bit ago, but it's still in theaters, so I'm not going to get too far into it. So I'm going to just leave it be. But, man, that movie was fucking awesome. I love Thor Ragnarok. I would have gave it a 9. I would have given it a solid 9. Then we get to Spider-Man Homecoming, a movie that holds a special place in my heart. Solid 9 also. Love Tom Holland as Spider-Man. He is the definitive best Spider-Man. I know people hold on to fucking Tobey Maguire. I know some people loved Andrew Garfield. They do not. They're not even close to fucking this version of Peter Parker. This is the comic book version of Peter Parker come to fucking life. The other versions of him were just like Tobey. He was old. And he looked older. He did the Peter Parker wimpiness, right? But once he put on the suit, I never bought it. And Tobey, he's just crying all the time. He always looked like he was going to cry, even when he wasn't going to cry. He just was really overly emotional. And at the time, when people thought this is the best we can get, we accepted that. And we took what he did do right and raised it up and just pretended like the stuff he did wrong, or his age, the over emotions, just kind of went, okay. Andrew Garfield was almost the exact opposite, because when he's Spider-Man, you're like, okay, he's cool, he's witty, he's kind of a prick about it. But then it's just like, dude, you're way too cool for school, skateboarding with your stylized hair that you got popped up. He looks like one of the cool kids. And it always threw me off watching the movie because he looked like he'd be one of the cool kids, but he's not. He's being bullied. Yet he's dating a super hot blonde, and he's a skateboard bra, and it's like, dude, man, like, come on. I never bought his New York accent either. It always threw me off. So, but this Peter Parker is fan-fucking-tastic. The movie had one of the Marvel's greatest villains. Both of the number 1 and number 2 had one of Marvel's greatest villains. I love Hela and Thor, but I have to say, Michael Keaton's Vulture has to be one of the greatest villains of all time. Talk about understanding his motivations. Talk about having not only understanding, but sort of almost even being behind his motivations. Great villain. Fantastic cast, Marissa Tomei, great Aunt May, all the above good all around. Now number 4 and number 5 are also 2 movies who you could flip either way depending on how you want to go about it, which would probably be, I'm going to put my number 4 though, oh man, I'm going to get such shit for this, man. I am, and just throw it at me. There was 5 comic movies this year, 6, so I'm only lining it up the way I see it. But my number 4 would have to be Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2. I know it's a shit opinion, but I enjoyed the hell out of Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2. I gave it an 8.5 at the time. I probably, looking back at it, once I'd seen it again since it was on Netflix, I probably would have stuck with that 8.5, maybe an 8. Maybe there's something that might drop to an 8, but my overall enjoyment of the movie, because it's a fun movie. And people shout on it for all these different things. I was like, dude, let that go. Ego is one of Marvel's best villains. I loved Ego because he was so great. Kurt Russell was great. The crew was back together. And although they were a lot more jokey, although some of the jokes were on the nose, and I agree with a lot of the criticisms of the movie, I still had so much fun with it, with the crew, Rocket, Taserface, I mean, all that shit, man. I just had a blast with it. Mantis, the relationship between Nebula and Gamora. And that movie did such a great job setting up things and introducing the Celestials. And Kurt Russell was just fantastic as a villain, in my opinion. I love Kurt Russell because it was just so gnarly. But like I said, the movie does have its problems. But I still gave that movie like an 8.5, maybe an 8. It might be like if you told me either war, I'd be fine with an 8 or an 8.5. Maybe even a 7.5, but I still had a blast with the movie. And number 5, which really is just there just as a placeholder because the Justice League, in my personal opinion, was fucking huge disappointment and kind of sort of sucked. It had its moments, but it kind of sort of sucked. It's Wonder Woman. Wonder Woman is my number 5 movie. And completely based off of the actual movie. I'm not talking about what it did for females in Hollywood. That's fantastic. I'm not talking about little girls who grew up like, oh, I want to be that superhero. That's fantastic. I'm happy for you. But as a movie, it was on the weaker side to me. As a movie, it did nothing for me. I've said this before. I mean, Seth went on a rant. It did nothing for me. It did nothing to push. It did nothing new at all except have a female lead. And like I said, the villains in those movies, the villains in that movie were terrible. And like I wish, and I'm not trying to be a dick here, but the DC movies are on the back of my list because they really weren't that great to me. Like honestly, Wonder Woman was an okay movie. That's why I gave it a 7 at the time. More upon watching, it's more of a 5.5 to 6. But you know, whatever. It is what it is. This movie's probably going to get nominated for an Oscar somehow, even though it's really not all that great of a movie with terrible villains. And every time someone brings up the whole terrible villains thing, they go, well, Marvel has... No. Marvel has bad to forgettable. Not terrible. Bad to forgettable. Marvel only has like 2 straight up bad, where you're just like, it distracted me villains. Those villains in fucking Wonder Woman were terrible. But anywho, gone on that track before. Please below, what is your favorite comic book movie of 2017? Please comment below, like and subscribe, and I will see you in the next one.